Well, I'm delighted to say right now, joining us is the 2018 semi-finals and three-time quarter-finalist as well at the Crucible, Kyren Wilson. First question, though, to you, Kyren, is how are we doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Matt. Thank you very much for the warm introduction there.
Yeah, we'll talk about your first round situation very, very shortly. But first of all, just a word about the tournament itself for World Snooker and the job that they've done on getting the World Championships on.
Yeah, they've obviously done an amazing job to even have a World Championships for us to be involved in. As we all know, there's been many big sporting events that have had to be cancelled due to the current pandemic we're all facing. So yeah, it's been really difficult. Obviously, one minute there's a crowd, the next there's not, and just keep going and getting things right based on government guidance. They deserve every credit.
Now, you're just sat there chilled out at the minute at your local snooker club. You haven't had a first-round clash. That would have the first ever bye at the Crucible. First of all, just a word on Anthony Hamilton and thoughts of him obviously pulling out of the tournament, citing health reasons, and the crowd being in the Crucible.
Yeah, it's obviously really difficult times, and it's just mad to think that there's a bye at the Crucible. Weirdly, I'm annoyed it's been me. It's sort of something you don't want hanging over you. I want to be winning and sort of get there on merit, but it's just one of those things I've got to deal with. It's kind of just been thrown at me. I've just been going about my business, trying to prepare and just obviously get sort of best prepared that I can. So I've come home in between. I had like a week gap until my next game. So yeah, just getting the practice in now.
I mean, obviously, plenty's been spoken about it. Some could say it's a help. Some have said it could be a hindrance. Obviously, you are only essentially now 4 games away from the Betfred World Snooker Championship. We're lifting the trophy, or 3 games away from a final. But you haven't got that first round easing into the competition like all the others have, and that match practice coming into it. So I can see where some pundits are coming from, saying, okay, it's a bye, you would snap your hand off to get in the second round. Alternatively, you won't have that adrenaline rush that all the others have gone through. But also you might have a bit of match fitness on your side going forward, because some have said that these players do get jaded with those first 10 frames.
Yeah, it's a really strange one. I think I'll sort of not know until I step out there myself. You cannot replicate sort of match sharpness and match conditions. Like I say, I've never practiced as hard as I have done for this event. But, when you walk out there, sometimes it can all go out the window or it can pay dividends. You don't quite know. I think my brother sort of summed it up to me, the best. It's kind of like everyone's like a Lewis Hamilton. He's warmed his tyres up on his practice laps, and then he's off on the race, and I've not sort of had that. So, in the grand scheme of things, I do see it as a bit of a hindrance. I was about 24 hours before we were due to play is when I found out about Anthony. So I had the butterflies going. I was walking around the Crucible, just had my COVID test. Like taking everything in, getting ready to play, ready for the next day. And to all of a sudden hear that, I just went flat straight away. Obviously the bonus is the risk has been taken out of it. I've not had to graft for the second round. So obviously I'm straight there, but like I say, you can't replicate match conditions. So it's a really strange one.
And just talking about recent events as well. I mean, obviously, I know you played recently at the beginning of June out of 3 qualifying games, but you're going all the way back to March, and she last played competitively as well. And that's a huge break, isn't it, without competitive action?
Oh, it's massive. It's, in today's snooker world, we're used to playing pretty much every single week. So to go all of that time without a competitive match is really strange. But like I say, I've really been trying to work harder than I ever have done before. So if anything, I'm better prepared in that sense. But like I say, you just can't replicate match conditions. But we'll see. It could work to my advantage. Who knows?
Just talk about your game in general, then. A 3-time finalist so far this season, including the Paul Hunter Classic, a tournament you've won previously. Where do you feel your game is at right now?
before the lockdown, I felt like my form was really coming together. I think since the start of the year, I lost in the quarterfinals to Stuart Bingham, who obviously went on to win the Masters. And then from there, I had a semi-final in Cheltenham, a final in Cardiff with a maximum, and then a final in Gibraltar. But sort of, it's not just the results; it's the people who I was beating along the way. You know, the likes of John Higgins, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Neil Robertson, Judd Trump. You know, the players that are right at the top of the game. So I felt like I was competing with those guys and sort of coming up nicely for the World Championships. And yeah, it's just all sort of obviously come tumbling down with the coronavirus. But it's when things like this happen, you realise, you know, snooker's not the be all and end all, and family's very important.
It certainly is, yeah. Echo those thoughts. You mentioned some stellar names of the sport there, and it's been a good start to the week for them so far. Obviously, the previous world champions have taken to the base so far, all pretty much sailing through. And do you think that the surrounds of the Crucible, obviously people that have been there and done it before, with or without the crowd, is making a big difference this year?
I don't know really. I think for the most experienced guys, they've been there and done it before, and they'll have kind of already prepared their minds to adapt to the situations. It's obviously always going to be strange, but I think, you know, when you're that good and that experienced, it probably takes a couple of frames and then you just crack on with the job at hand. Yeah, I think I watched the start of Neil Robertson's game and he had like 140 break first frame. So, you know, when you're sort of that confident in your game, it doesn't really matter what's happening around you.
Let's just look at the second round. Martin Gould as well. He's just got the slight edge of you in the head-to-head so far, but never in a game with this longer format.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much always played in like PTC type events, best of seven. So it'd be nice to play Martin over a longer distance. Again, a really nice player to watch. Very fluent, very natural, and scores very heavily. And kind of goes for his shots like I like to. So. Yeah, hopefully it'll be an exciting game.
And obviously, they're all missing the crowds of the Crucible this year, but there's one important person who'll also be missing as well. Sadly, Brandon Parker recently lost his battle with illness. A man you obviously spent lots of time with as manager, he's done wonders for snooker as well. This could be quite an emotional tournament for many players, including yourself.
Yeah, it's really strange. For me, it's going to be the hardest tournament probably I've ever competed in, to tell you the truth. Obviously, with everything that's happened with the whole COVID situation, and then obviously sadly losing Brandon only a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, I've been in contact with Brandon more or less every day. I was still in contact with him only a couple of days before he sadly passed away, and you know, with his character and the way he was so strong, determined. You sort of never expect it to happen to someone like that. You feel like he can fight against the world and sort of keep battling on. And, you know, I've been very grateful. I feel like even throughout this sort of period where he's been so poorly, he's still been there at the drop of a hat. And if I needed a phone call and needed a bit of advice, he'd kick me at the backside if I needed it. He'd sort of will me on. And I've never met somebody that believed in me, like, you know, just as much as like my close family would. So he kind of became like part of our family. I'm gutted for Charlotte and the children, his wife. And yeah, it would be such a sad loss to snooker. He really promoted the game very well, trying to bring on youngsters like myself, who was young at the time when we started working together. So yeah, I'm going to miss him a lot.
Yeah, nice words there. And just finally, Kyren, just how excited are you to get back up to the Crucible? You say you've been around there, obviously, and you had to come back after your first round game was postponed and you got that bye. How excited are you to get back there and get amongst the players who, of course, have got a little bit of edge on you having that first round clash?
Yeah, very excited to get up there. It's the World Championships. It's still at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. As soon as you're driving up the M1 and you see the signs, you know, you get the butterflies going. So I'll be heading back up probably on Wednesday. have a good few days practice and in and around the Crucible practicing, get a sense of the atmosphere or lack of atmosphere, if you like, and just sort of try and get to grips with the tournament.
Betfred, proud sponsor of the World Snooker Championship.